G'day, 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 ladies and gentlemen, and all those in between. Welcome back to another episode of Spectate The Player, where as a Chapter 1, Season 1 veteran, I'm going to be bringing you guys the latest and greatest tips, tricks, strategies, and more to winning not only more games, but more crowns in Fortnite, Chapter 6. So guys, if you are keen here to see if this Snowy 2703, alright, I would say, is this the Reaper skin? He's going to be able to send it back for the 2 for 2. Alright, the back-to-back crown wins. Make sure you guys do hit that like button and you hit that subscribe button. Of course, Snowy here running with the suppressed assault rifle. They're going to be landing a little bit to the eastern side of the map here. Of course, just in between Camp Krusty and Burns' manor. Alright, using these power towers as a form of rotation as well, which is going to be a strategy that I've seen played quite a lot, both in early game as well as the late game there. Now, picking up as well with the striker. An assault rifle we've gone over in yesterday's episode, guys. Alright, or definitely maybe an episode or two ago there. Definitely two different guns, two different very great benefits for each. Alright, the suppressor is going to be fantastic for those long-range skirmishes. And then the striker is going to be fantastic for close to mid-range. So, all in all, right, they're very, very decent guns, and I think just trying to get used to them in each different scenario is going to be something that is just so rewarding for each player. So that is something that is great. Of course, you will get quite a lot of these chests here, and it seems like this might be the new sort of underrated strategy, right, is to literally land over at one of these power towers, you traverse along them, you go grab the chests on top. Of course, taking some bullet fire right from the north there. I tell you, he does take his time. Missing the first shot, the second, I can feel a little bit of, there we go. Of course, I do see win to win to win in the chat there, getting a kill as well, getting a couple kills there. We'll see how we go. We might switch to win to win to win later on in the episode, but for now, we'll see how Snowy does it. Right, we're going to be trying to just analyze his behavior here, right? We're trying to see, like, okay, what does this player do that is differently to other players, right? They've got the crown. How did they do that before? And how can we replicate that for you guys? I think that is something that is so crucially important at the moment in this season is, hey, we've got a lot of sweats in the game, but, you know, there's just so many different ways and angles that players are absolutely obliterating me on right now. Like, how do I prevent this? How do I get into that top 3, that top 5 position a lot more consistently? Alright, so some shots going on up top of the mountain there. He does jump off, catching himself on the fence there. I want to say that he knew the fence was there and that he knew that was on purpose. I really hope that was the case. It looked like it did. That is well played to him. Definitely some decent game sense here by Snowy. Of course, the striker here for the 50 on the headshot. He does follow up for the 20, running to cover now for the reload, which is going to be a wise move for Snowy. He does crouch behind this secondary rock here, and then coming back up to check the left flank. Now, this is key. This is key. You want to not just be peeking from one side. You want to be peeking from multiple. You want to be ideally taking advantage of right shoulder peek. But right now, I tell you, his overshield is down, and all he wants to be taking advantage of is maybe a shield or two. But he just doesn't have any there that can really suffice. Coming up from the left side over here is not the best play for Snowy. He wants to attack from the right here. Right, we'll go into right shoulder peek in a second. But real quick, I feel like Snowy's about to go down here. Of course, the tactical putting in work. Josh NRL actually will be getting the kill there with, of course, I believe this is a really rare skin as well as a shield there. Correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't this one released in Chapter 1? With the Black Knight sort of other skin there, but of course coming up behind this other player, the suppressed assault rifle here for Josh. Of course, following up now for the double kill. He's got the crown, but will he be able to secure the double here for the 4-kill Elim? Alright, 25 players are left. I tell you what, quarter to 100, but for Josh, this is nothing but, what is it? It's currently 8:23 AM right now. Josh is just absolutely sending it home. So what is the right shoulder peek, guys? Right shoulder peek is when you have a cover here, right? Say you've got a rock that you're hiding behind in the center here. You then go to the right side, and if you guys aim in with your gun, you'll see that there's like an X. There'll be like an X saying that you can't actually shoot there. But if you step backwards slowly and you move back behind the rock, you'll notice that the X will eventually disappear, and it'll let you shoot sort of behind where you're trying to shoot before. So right shoulder peek is taking advantage of that. And especially well because the players who are watching you behind that cover, for example, they won't be able to see you there. Or they can, but it's very, very hard to land a shot, right? So it's just the way that, these sorts of, with the way that the cameras here are, having your person on the left side, you can really take advantage of that just in-game sort of setting there to get some really free shots. So the 5 guns here, of course, going up against the Renegade Raider. She does jump hop over the top of Josh NRL right now. Shadow King Jr. Absolutely beautiful work, actually. We see win to win to win goes down as well, dropping the crown there. Going for a cheeky heal up here for Shadow King. That was some beautiful breaking the camera there by Shadow King. So jumping over a player, over their head, and just being as hard of a target to hit as possible is going to be so key. The close range here for the Thunder. He does miss though. Jumping out, he does take cover in the bush. The Shockwave with 10 health. He does find a little bit of refuge here behind one of the huts. The shielding up now. Right, he's got the 50 shield, only 10 white health. There should be a campfire nearby, but what he really needs is going to be another big boy. Dare I say, a cheeky medkit inside. That's what I would be doing here. I would be checking inside these huts, right, silently rather than loudly. Oh, that is definitely disappointing. But the bandages now coming in absolutely clutch here for Shadow King. Now, I find that their inventory right now, their loadout is pretty interesting, right? They've got the Suppressed, they've got the Thunder, both in the blue variety here. Alright, which is going to be great. You're going to get a lot more damage out of this, and you're going to get a lot more potential. I do find it quite interesting, though, because the Thunder is a very less forgiving gun than the Tactical, right? The Tactical is fantastic in its own right. I think we all know this, right? There's a lot of good damage. It's got a big magazine size. It's also got a quick fire rate, right? What more could you want, right, in a shotgun? That's pretty nice. But see, when you have the Thunder, you're going to get more damage, but a smaller fire rate as well as a smaller magazine. Alright, so you're going to have less chances if you miss the shot. You've got to be good with your weapon switching. You need to switch back to an assault rifle, to an SMG, something, anything. Alright, you just need something, right? Because if you try and hold on to that shotgun and you try and just wait for that reload, you're probably not going to be able to send it home for the win there. So, do recommend the Thunder, but if you guys are running the Thunder, make sure you are practicing the weapon switch there. Alright, I'll tell you who has been practicing though. We've got Shadow King Jr. here with a long-range tap fire there, using that Suppressed ever so effortlessly. It's good to see, but guys, I'll tell you what else is good to see. I'd love to see us reach that goal of 5,000 subscribers by the end of 2026, so make sure you guys do hit that like button and you hit that subscribe button. Alright, he is of course waiting up top here. I tell you, it's only November, but we've got Santa coming down through the Christmas tree. Potentially the chimney, should we say. Alright, of course, the pet there definitely would psych me out occasionally, but he's healing up. He heals him. He goes for the weapon switch. He's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful work there by Shadow King Jr. That was... You guys might want to rewind that in 0.25 speed. I can't right now because we do these live. But you guys will notice he jumped out, shot, weapon switch, jumped back out immediately for one more shot, I'm pretty sure he did. And as soon as he took that shot, he jumped back out. He didn't get greedy and try to follow with another weapon switch. He took the shot and then jumped back out, waited for the shotgun to reload, and then finished him off effortlessly. That is beautiful to see. That is something I want to replicate personally. And so, yeah, well played to Shadow King Jr. there. 5 kills to the name, of course, for this Renegade Raider. Right, they have now upgraded their loadout to Legendary only. Alright, the Legendary Suppressed, the Legendary Thunder. Alright, they've got 4 for the porta bunkers, and they've also got some slaps there alongside the minis, which is going to be quite key. Right, the minis as well are going to be the fastest heal in the game. No, they're not in the game right now. But typically in past seasons, they're going to be the fastest. Right, we've got the crusty burgers at the moment. We've got the splashes, which of course are going to be a lot faster. But, these are going to be, the minis are going to be quicker to use than the big shields. And so for that reason, more often than not, we'll see a lot more experienced players running minis. Plus another sort of heal as well. They're not just only running the big boys here. Again, you got to be checking your 6 sometimes. And Shadow King, whilst he is fantastic at shooting, he was a little bit too confident there with the direction that he was running. So We've got a shotgun, or at least a chainsaw player here. He goes down for the porta bunker on top, of course, hiding underneath now. Waiting and waiting. A lot of players will tend to sort of go and just aim up at the porta bunker. But if you're underneath it, of course, you can just slip away like Shadow King does right here. So that is fantastic to see, of course. He does... Look, he's got brilliant aim. He's got a lot of game sense here. But in terms of the way that he tries to avoid these shots, in terms of his... map awareness, what have you. Definitely a little bit to improve there, but that's okay. You know, I do have a lot of hope for him, of course. Pumping out another one here. Old mate shockwaving up and over. You'd want to be cautious about this high ground because a lot of players will be wanting to use that, right? Especially when you're on the low ground, everywhere is pretty much high ground. So having a positional advantage is going to be key, right? And finding yourself in these areas of these low grounds like the rivers, like for example on these roads and stuff where you have these mountains around you, you're going to find yourself in a bit of a tricky scenario, tricky situation, and it's not one you want to be in. Personally, I love cars this season. Alright, old mate with the crown over there running to his own car, but he is stopped in the bush. This is where, yes, you want to duck to cover now. Alright, but Shadow King coming on and up and closer here. I'm not too sure why old mate in the bush wasn't shooting at him earlier. But let us see. Of course, trying to go for the shots. He goes down to Siphon. That was just... they might have panicked. I'm sure they must have panicked. I'm not too sure what was going on there for Shadow King. But well played to them. They definitely gave it a fair crack. And they had some very impressive kills. So, well played. And GG's to Shadow. Of course, Siphon now battling it out for the top 4. Right, there are 3 other players here. There's a donut zone here as well, which is something you guys should be taking advantage of. Alright, these donuts, I don't know if it's during the storm or at least at the very least afterwards. There are some of them you can actually search. You get some shields, you can get some guns, mobility like shockwaves. It's pretty good, right? There's a lot of potential there. So definitely if you guys are noticing, okay, hey, I'm rotating around late game. I'm coming through a donut zone, or there's a donut zone nearby. Stop on in, try and loot the ones up. I think they're the ones with the chests on them, like on the ground there. So yeah, and you just search them. It's very easy, very quick. And you have a lot of cover around you as well, like all these donuts, so you can play around it. I think it's a fantastic addition by Fortnite, and it's one of the reasons why I love this game, right? Is the fact that we will get these random changes that completely will change up the entire state of the game. And of course, hiding in the bush now for that top 4. Siphon now making it into the top 3. So no fuss. Shotgunning a genuine human there. And then some shots over there. He wants to third party this. I would probably be trying to make my way up there. It looks like they're fighting around this area here. So maybe one was on the back foot in zone making his way here. Considering we didn't see him around here, I'm assuming he's either there, the other player's there, or like something like this. It looks like Siphon is trying to check this area now, or at least just being mindful about it. And that's what it matters, right? That's where it matters the most, is just to be mindful, is to practice that mindfulness, is to go, okay, I'm in the top 3, but I need to do like a bit of a cool deep breath here. There's one player. He does watch him like an absolute hawk right now, Siphon. And deep breaths are important, guys. This mindfulness is going to be so key, because if you just get used to, taking control at the moment, not even just taking control, but absolutely beautiful effort there by Siphon. Well played. The car coming up now. All right, attempting to grab the loot and the ammo. Face check in the bush, you would hope. He does. The shockwave up and over. He nearly knocks him off of the cliff face there. But just try to get used to acknowledging your feelings and your panic in the moment, and then bring yourself back to the room. Bring yourself back to the room. Take a deep breath. All right, ground yourself. All right, this is going to be the exotic Mr. Blasty player here, which is always an absolute menace to play against. He does jump up, of course, then allowing you to release that balloon is going to be hell of a strategy. There goes the bot. Of course, taking his time here. He will not land any of those shots, unfortunately, for Siphon. The car getting shot out. He does hide in the bush now. The NPC is probably going to actually grief him a little bit here. But yeah, again, acknowledge your feelings, acknowledge your tense wrists, your tense hands. Maybe your heart rate is going a little bit fast, and just go, this is okay. I can do this. Alright, you need to just remain cool, calm, and collected. But reassure yourself as well. I feel like self-compassion is a lost art these days, as well as self-love. Alright, taking a lot of health damage there in the zone. The jump shot for the 76. He does weapon switch, trying to damage the car. He drifts off of the cliff for 67. Now reloading the gun. Old mate trying to jump around to the side there. The suppressed AR. Look, it's in a legendary variant, but I can guarantee you it's going to be doing a lot more than that. It's going to be doing mythical damage there. And the shockwave over the top during the mid-heal. He misses the shot. Old mate shockwaves back over towards the mountain. Will he go for the zip line? He does. Achieving high ground as well as that positional advantage. The last shockwave going up. He just nails it in time. Siphon will be sending it back for the win there with the Orange Justice to secure the deal. Well played. Ladies and gentlemen, if you did enjoy that episode, make sure you hit that like button. You hit that subscribe button. As always, take care. Garnier.